Well, hello and welcome to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection since 1991. My name is Pete Connor. I'm your show's host on this Monday, May 1 of 2017. Happy May Day to everyone. I just said to the folks before camera that I didn't get any May baskets on my step this morning. So hopefully we'll maybe have one tonight sometime. Well, we're happy to have you with us, and we're also happy to have a couple of guests that are going to give us some good information. First up will be Jane Nyquist, our Steele County health educator, who's going to be talking about the upcoming Bikeable Community Workshop. And then we'll finish with Louanne Kaupa of Eat Well Nutrition, who will be reporting on diet and bone health. So we want you to stay tuned for that. And we also want to have your input if you have anybody or anything that you believe should have some publicity on Owatonna Today. So if you have someone who is in need of some recognition or an event that's upcoming that needs some publicity, please let us know about that by emailing us at owatonnatoday@charter.net or by calling the show's producer Leanne T at 390-5751. And now we're going to take a quick break for some messages from our sponsors and be right back with Jane. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Dr. Beth Giltvet.
And I'm Dr. Nick Vincelli of Horizon Eye Care.
We want you to see what you love and love how you see. We're proud sponsors of the Owatonna Today Show.
I needed more than just another dead-end job. I wanted a career, so I expressed myself.
With the kids off to college, I decided it was time for me to go back to work and express myself.
Express got me in touch with some really great companies. Now I'm on my way to a great career.
Express Employment Professionals is in contact with thousands of companies in need of quality employees. Come in now and get the job you deserve.
Express yourself today.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection, and welcome to Jane Nyquist.
Well, thank you.
Steele County health educator.
I am.
Yes, you are. And I've had the pleasure of working with Jane some considerable time over the last few years, and really because of what we're going to be talking about today. So I got to be careful that I don't talk too much, even more than I usually do, because Jane is the one who's going to be telling us about this upcoming bike workshop that we're having for Steele County, actually. So we have, the communities of Medford and Ellendale and Blooming as well. So
yes.
Good to have you here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to share that the Bikeable Workshop or Bikeable Community Workshop is sponsored by SHIP, one of the grants I have at Public Health through Steele County Public Health. But also the City of Owatonna and the City of Medford are involved with the actual event. The event is May 16th. From 9 to 3, and we want to see some of the things that make a community bikeable, and infrastructure of a community can really affect a person's health or risk factors for ill health. And so through this workshop, we want to give us the tools and have community members, planning people, elected officials, bike enthusiasts, come just to learn about the 6 E's, which are engineering, education, things like that. And so, it's coming up in about 2 weeks, and there's still time to register if anybody's interested in
good.
it.
We sure would like to have just a mess of people.
We would.
Where is the event going to be held, Jane?
Oh, it's going to be held at the Owatonna Public Utilities in the Morehouse Room.
Right.
And we actually want folks to bring their bike because there's going to be a bike route that we're going to take, do kind of an assessment of our community to see really how bikeable it is, if it's safe, if roads need some help. There's a lot of things that can be done to make a community more bikeable, but also walkable too. They both go together hand in hand.
Sure. We talk about the use of a bicycle, and of course most people, I think, probably are recreational riders. So sometimes it's left in the lurches, can we use a bicycle to get to work?
That's exactly right.
That's maybe part of what you're going to be doing?
Exactly right. The grant that I have is called SHIP, Statewide Health Improvement Partnership. And it looks at 4 sectors of a community, which is work sites, healthcare, the community, and schools. And we really want to tie them all together to make it easier to get to school for kids, or safer, to get out to healthcare campus. We have a fairly small community in that we really could ride our bikes or walk more often, to go to the store, to get to school, to go do whatever, go to church. And so we really would like to build up the infrastructure and education to make sure people know what the rules of the road are for both walkers and bikers.
Exactly, and I know there is almost every season, riding season, there's all kinds of comment about how cyclists don't follow the rules, you know, don't stop at stop signs and all the rest of it. And I think, you know, that's a message that really needs to get sunk into the community more deeply. That, you know, we as cyclists, we need to be following all of the rules.
Really, really they do. And there are some bad eggs out there that are not following the rules, but there are also some people that know what they're doing, wear their helmet, ride with traffic, use hand signals. So, I mean, we just want to promote that. And same with bikers. I mean, they're not bikers, walkers. People don't always walk properly and have earbuds in their ears, and they have accidents. And so we really want to try to prevent all that.
Sure. Being aware of our surroundings is very difficult when you can't hear what's going on around.
For sure.
It compromises that.
Right.
Who's helping with the event, if you will, for that 6 hours or so? Who do you have in as supporters or as, you know, so-called experts?
Well, there's an organization in Twin Cities called Bike Minnesota. It's Allegiance. It's Bicycle Alliance of Minnesota. That's what it is. They will be there. The Minnesota Department of Health will have some folks there. The Minnesota Department of Transportation will also have some folks there to, you know, set out the agenda for that day and give their take on how being a bikeable community can help the health. The transportation part will be the Department of Transportation, and then Bike Minnesota will just kind of pull it all together.
Yeah, okay. So, you know, you said city folks, all from Medford and Owatonna, Ellendale, Blooming Prairie. What I mean, it would be Park and Rec folks then who would be coming, or others?
We would love Park and Rec. We would like city planners. We would like county city engineers. We would like elected officials to come to this. School officials, school staff who maybe do work with bicycling units in school. Anybody can really attend. It is on a Tuesday, so it's during the workday, which may limit who actually can get there.
Right.
But really want to tie it into what our community's done. We've been doing little things in the community since, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, when Pete was one who brought up the bike signs that say, "Watch out, bike's about," if I remember right.
Yeah, right.
And so we want to build on that. I mean, we want to build that infrastructure so that people have no excuse for not using it.
Well, I think it's important, and I think it's important for our viewers and, you know, citizens wherever to understand that bicycles are not foreign to roadways. A bicycle is very appropriate to be on a roadway. You know, obviously there's some common sense. You know, we're not going to ride a bicycle in the middle of the 55-mile-an-hour traffic, right? But I mean, on a city street, we have, you know, bicycles follow the same rules and have every right to be on that street as a motor vehicle does.
They do.
But by the same token, there is some rational thinking and rational behavior that has to go along with that, and hopefully that will be part of the workshop as well.
Should be. And there's also a website called Share the Road, which has a lot of good information, some tips, different things that, you know, one could use for an educational project. And working with schools too, there's a curriculum called Walk, Bike, Fun, and I think you've been trained in that. And we'd love to see our students get that curriculum training, and actually bike rodeos are something that are really quite fun, you know, get kids involved more and more.
Well, coming up in June, I know there will be the Steele County Safety Day, Safety Camp, and always there's a bicycle unit there because kids are, you know, getting ready to really roll for the summertime, and so there's a lot of the bike rodeo kind of activity is there. You know, you talked about kids and biking to school, so can you talk a little bit about the so-called Safe Routes to School program?
That is a program that actually we could apply for funding. There's a planning stage that we could apply for, or an infrastructure. But that gets, that's to do everything we've been talking about. It's a grant program through, I think it's Department of Public Safety or Transportation. And it would allow a group to, school personnel, city personnel, to get together and talk about what needs to be done, what needs improvement.
Sure.
And I know a neighboring community, Dodge County, has one. And so they are a grant, so they are actually doing this right now, and hopefully we can learn from that and maybe apply sometime in the future for funding.
Exactly. You know, there's a, you know, I had the opportunity to ride in downtown Minneapolis, and I was shuddered to think about that, but you know, really it wasn't bad at all, because I think Minneapolis has a culture of allowing, you know, of knowing that cyclists are going to be around, and I think that's partly what we need to do too, don't you?
That's what I would love. Minneapolis is really one of the top bike destinations in in our nation, and so we really would like to emulate them. I mean, people there ride bike year round,
right.
And I mean, there are bikes made for us to go year round. That's right. Fat bike tires, or fat tire bikes is what we should call them. So I mean, we actually have a new nurse at Public Health who's been riding her bike for, I don't know, that's 2-3 months since she first started. And they weren't all wonderful days. When she came out, she was bundled up. And and we have a great bike shop downtown, Straight River Sports, that can help with any of your bicycling needs. So, I mean, we're ready. We're ready to do more.
And when you talk about bicycling needs, not everybody is going to be, you know, doing road riding at 20 miles an hour, but because there are bikes now that have assists, you know, for the very leisure rider can ride, knowing that he or she can, you know, with
Senior
little
Place
motor.
has a bike like that, and I think the bike shop has one too. So I mean, there's no excuse for people like me who don't want to ride up a hill. I could use a bike assist, I suppose, and get where I need to get, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Very good.
So this is going to be hopefully, you know, a very popular program that we're going to be seeing coming up, and that there will be some benefits that will be paid after. And I know that Mayor, some other people who have been involved in this, I think we should note, Mayor Nelson.
Louise Nelson?
Lois, yeah.
Lois Nelson. Oh, I'm sorry. Put an E on there when there's no E.
Yeah.
Lois Nelson, Pete's been involved, Tim Trulson from the city of Owatonna, Grace Bartlett also from the city of Medford Park and Rec has been involved. So we've got some countywide interest in making this work.
Well, we're going to look forward to seeing that and how it all goes, and we sure want to invite anyone to attend on the 16th
9 to 3
at Morehouse Room at the Owatonna Public Utilities. So stay tuned, look for that, and we'll be happy to have you. And I'll say this, we've been happy to have you.
Well, thank
here.
you.
And thanks for coming, sharing all of that. And perhaps there will be another opportunity for us to see on the backside
that would be great.
Yeah, okay, good.
Sounds good.
Thanks for being here. And thank you for being with us for this session. We're going to close now for a bit and take some messages from our sponsors, so do stay with us.
Hi, Brad here from Owatonna Senior Place. Our goal at Senior Place is to involve, enrich, and empower adults 50 years of age or better to live as independently as possible in our communities. We do this by promoting wellness through recreational, educational, and social opportunities, as well as being a referral source for services available within our area. Activities and programming at our center emphasize creating and maintaining independence in all phases of life. Come see what Senior Place has to offer. Live full, live well, and live long.
Amy Swain Hearing Centers is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Dr. Amy Swain, and I want everyone to hear better.
Hi, I'm Betsy Linger from the Owatonna Foundation. Your generosity has made Owatonna a better place to live by benefiting our community, the arts, recreation, and education. Please consider a donation today. The Owatonna Foundation is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
At Triumph Graphics, we think beyond ink. That's why you should make us your source for creative concept, design, print, mail, and web. Check us out today at triumphgraphics.com.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Well, welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection, and a big welcome to Louanne Kaupa from Eat Well Nutrition.
Good morning, Pete.
Yeah, nice to have you here. And Louanne is going to be telling us or giving us information about something that's really pretty important, I think, and that is osteoporosis and bone health. You know, really generally, I suppose bone health, but certainly osteoporosis comes roaring into that conversation. And as the last time she was here, she brought all kinds of samples. I don't know if those are filled yet or not. She never left any, I can tell you that, any of the fresh stuff.
It's all empty.
For the staff, it's all empty.
It's all empty. Milk stuff tends to spoil and smell a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose, sure. Well, interesting topic.
It is.
And let's start thinking about that in the context of bone health generally.
Great. So May is, as well as May Day.
May Day today.
Yeah. May is Osteoporosis Awareness Month and bone health, just safety and prevention, hopefully, of osteoporosis. And oftentimes, I think people think of osteoporosis, and we do, because osteoporosis generally affects elderly people over age 50. It does affect men as well as women, just women more often. But the importance of our diet and our activity levels starts in childhood, those growth periods of life, because that's when we rely on that calcium storage, bone banking we call that, for our elderly years as well. So thinking about osteoporosis now in teens and children is not too early.
No one ever said anything to me about that when I was that young. This is now, over time, as we grow into programs and such, we become smarter, don't we?
True, because nutrition is a science that keeps evolving. But, fortification of milk with vitamin D happened in the 1940s. So it's it's not been right. But that was for rickets. But since then, we've discovered that vitamin D is actually not a vitamin; it is a hormone. So it has active properties.
What'd you know?
Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption. So that vitamin D fortification of milk is really beneficial for getting that calcium from milk and dairy products absorbed, which is very important.
Didn't know that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you start young. Make sure that diet is appropriate for strengthening. But there are other things as well that make for strong bones.
As Jane just talked about, you and Jane talked about biking, that physical activity is really important as well. Weight-bearing activity, strength training is important to keep those muscles strong as well as keep those bones a little agitated.
Well, how does that work? I mean, strength training, if you're lifting weights, there isn't any real impact on bones. How does that?
Strength training is more as we age, we tend to lose muscle mass. So if we can do that strength training to keep strength in our muscles and not lose as much of that muscle mass, our muscles hold up our bone structures. So that all works integrally and keeps us balanced. We are at less risk for falling.
Does it squeeze? Do the muscles squeeze the bone then in a sense to kind of keep that density, or how does that?
No, actually that weight-bearing physical activity is kind of critical for keeping those bones jarred in a sense and keeping that circulation going. But without adequate calcium in our diets, we just don't continue to keep those bones strong. So it really is important in childhood to get those adequate milk intakes or cheese, yogurt, whatever it might be. Our best sources of calcium do tend to come from milk, cheese, dairy. Soy milk is equivalent in calcium and vitamin D to cow's milk. However, the other milk products are not, or so-called milk products.
Which would be like what?
Like almond milk and rice milk.
So, now we come to the idea of nomenclature, right?
Yes.
What is milk? We understand milk to be a dairy product, but now we have other products that are called milk.
Right. That's being heavily discussed, though, by the USDA and the dairy industry and how we label things milk. I expect we'll see some changes in the next 5 years of what that is because people have assumed they are equivalent to cow's milk, and they are not. very little protein content in rice milk, almond milk. Yes, they are fortified with calcium, but that fortification isn't, at that level, it still doesn't get absorbed as well as when we have milk protein.
Okay. So vitamin D, and I was always told that, I think a lot of our viewers were told, that the sun is a source of vitamin D.
Yes, it is.
And we oftentimes get this play up against, the sun is good for vitamin D, but it's not so hot for
our skin.
So
yes, I think that that pendulum swings, doesn't it, back and forth. Our skin actually makes vitamin D from contact with the sun. An SPF factor of 8 in a sunscreen blocks about 90% of the skin's ability to make vitamin D. So we do have a fine line. I don't recommend people are out in the sun without sunscreen those major times of the day, 10 until 3 in the afternoon. But it's okay to go for a walk in the morning and not have your SPF 50 on. It's okay at 6 o'clock at night. But it's that overexposure that tends to be problematic. Those of us who are fairer skinned actually do a better job of absorbing or making vitamin D from that sun. We don't need as much. People with dark skin actually need more exposure to get enough vitamin D. It's a fine line. I also really encourage women to look at your makeup. So many makeups have an SPF year round in them, and we in this latitude don't need to be screening our face in the winter months from vitamin D.
Okay. How about supplements? Any comments there?
Interesting. Most of my early career, actually the first 25 years, we recommended people take calcium at menopause for women for that extra calcium boost. And about 3 years ago, the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force said, oops, doesn't help. Caused maybe more problems. So supplemental form is not as effective and can lead to potentially other health complications. So,
what about vitamin D?
Vitamin D supplementation, that is the big kind of panacea right now, going to solve everything. I think if you're taking a vitamin D supplement, you should be monitored by your physician on those levels. Unlike the sun and contact with our skin, the skin will say, stop, I don't need any more vitamin D today, and the kidneys just stop making it. Whereas when we're getting it in oral form, there's no buffer there, there's no stopping it. So really especially those high doses of vitamin D that several people are on right now, you really need doctors monitoring of that serum vitamin D level or that blood vitamin D level to make sure we don't get to too high of levels. Some people truly do need it, and it is important, but they should be monitored.
Tell us about heredity when it comes to bone health.
Yep, there is definitely genetic tendencies. People, fairer skinned, Asian population tend to have frailer bones to begin with, so their bone banking, getting that calcium earlier in life is very important for them. And again, the importance of that weight-bearing physical activity to keep those bones as strong as possible.
Okay. So, putting it all together, it's really kind of a multifaceted approach, isn't it?
It is.
Exercise.
It's not one solution. It's a combination of a healthy lifestyle for long periods of time.
Sure. Are there foods that typically we like? I mean, I like ice cream.
So do I.
There's some vitamin D in there. But I mean, I suppose there are places that we can get certain foods that perhaps are not as healthy, quote healthy, in the context of bone and muscle health.
Well, vitamin D is not naturally in ice cream.
Oh.
So I wouldn't be looking to ice cream for my vitamin D. Milk products have been fortified with vitamin D, like I said, for about 50, 60 years. Okay. Actually, fish, tuna, salmon, herring naturally have vitamin D in them. So those are very good sources. An egg has a small amount of vitamin D in it. It's in the yolk. So there are some foods naturally that naturally have vitamin D in them, but very few foods have naturally have vitamin D in them. Okay. The sun is that natural form of vitamin D. Okay. Calcium is in, for the most part, dairy foods naturally. and there's small amounts of calcium in leafy greens, but you'd have to consume a whole lot of those. A quart of cooked spinach a day to get the same amount of calcium as you would 3 cups of milk.
We have a fast question and a fast answer. Can osteoporosis be stemmed? Can it be stopped or held up?
There are some meds that are used to prevent any further loss of bone, but total prevention starts in growing years.
Growing years, yeah. Well, good. Well, and hopefully our audience or the viewing audience will take all of that to heart and maybe reflect on their own dietary posture at home, at mealtime and so forth, and
go out biking and go out walking
and lifting weights and all the rest of it. Thank you for all of this, Louanne, and best wishes to you. We'll have you back, I know, down the line, and so have a good summer.
When
that finally comes. And
when
thank you. When it comes. And thank you for being with us today. We will stay, please do stay with us. We're going to hold up for a few commercial messages right now. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Dave Efforts with TPS Insurance. We're here to handle all your insurance needs. We are a very proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Coming up.
Well, welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. We are going to take some time for some community announcements. First, on Friday, May 5th of 2017, the Minnesota State Public School Orphanage Museum Board will host an open house in honor of founder Harvey Ronglin, who's going to be 90 years old. The celebration will be held at the Owatonna Arts Center from 3 to 6 p.m. The public is invited to come and share memories, and no gifts, please, if you are unable to attend. Cards can be mailed to 125 East Park Street, Apartment 204, Owatonna. Join the Riverbend Nature Center for our annual Maple Syrup Fun Run and Pancake Brunch on Saturday, May 6th. Following the race is the Pancake Brunch featuring Riverbend's very own maple syrup harvested from our own trees. For more information and to pre-register, contact Emily Greger, Naturalist Resource Manager at 507-332-7151. SHIP, Statewide Health Improvement Partnership of Steele County, the City of Owatonna, and the City of Medford invite you to attend a Bikeable Community Workshop in Owatonna on Tuesday, May 16th from 9 to 3 at Morehouse Room of the Owatonna Public Utilities. The workshop will help us develop realistic strategies to make our communities a safe and more pleasant place to bike and thereby improve the health of all of our residents. Please register by May 8th, and that will take care of it for today. But do come back on Wednesday when we will have Katie Godfrey from the Owatonna Chamber, and she'll update us on tourism. And we will have another guest whose name I do not have right now, but we will have another guest. So please do come back on Wednesday. Thanks for being here.